Hey, Mr. Grooves. How are we doing? I'm pretty good, yeah. That's good to hear. Just keeping an eye on the stream health while we get started. Yeah, I've had a few days off work this week, so I have just been doing lots of music stuff. Ah, Native Instruments. Yes, I did. It was the first thing I saw on Wednesday morning. I don't normally... Usually I'll get up, do some music, and then I might check in on my phone, see what's happening, and the Future World Machines. Wagon. Yeah, I woke up on Wednesday and I saw the news on Instagram actually, and I thought, wow, that's big and surprising actually that that's happened. Considering, well, all of the stuff they own and all of the software they have and everything like that. I mean, I use Contact and I use Reaktor. They're both NI, and I know that Plugin Alliance and Brainworks stuff is Native Instruments, and I can't see it affecting me too much, but yeah, it's pretty shocking. There was a good White Sea Studio video on it. It was quite interesting. Thanks, Wagon. I can see that too, and I'm not sure why that is. It might just take a moment to settle itself out. Yo, Astro Boy. I used to go to school near there. You can see what I'm looking at. It's the upload speed that matters with streaming. That should be okay. Is it any better now? It's saying good here. It should be fine. I just hate all the warnings I get. That's the worst thing. It's like the most alarming thing ever. Your stream health is below 2,000 kilobytes per second. You don't think it's the stream? Could be YouTube. Everyone's going live. Keep doing speed tests. That's fine. I need Starlink. That's good. At least you can hear me. What I found from experience is that if it's bad, it usually levels out after a while, or it just craps out completely. This isn't great. It should be about 100 megabytes per second. I've got the fastest internet I can get here in where I live. It should be 100 megabytes per second upload. Wagon, yeah, I am. I'm in Streamlabs desktop, which is essentially OBS with a few extra features. I'm going to try on my phone as well. We'll get going in a minute. Enfield Junction. Yeah, I used to go from Waltham Abbey Junction to the Enfield Junction to school. And there was a garden centre there, which I believe is still there. And the memories of it are quite 90s. Streamlabs is normally fine. We're normally excellent. This happens every now and again, and I don't know why it is. I don't have a direct connection, which is probably a bit risky, but I'm able to normally sustain a pretty good connection. Okay, you can't check download on here. It's annoying. One more and then we'll just crack on. Listen to me. I mean, it all looks fine. Okay, I'm still live. I just stopped my audio. Alright, yeah, we'll crack on. And hopefully it'll sort itself out. And maybe I'll just go off camera for now. Again, I don't think it should make too much of a difference. I am here. Okay. We'll just keep the sound running for now. So I think I want to work on this tune tonight, Dream Coil, which is like an atmospheric D&B thing, and I've worked on it a fair amount on stream before and actually just finished this. So the last time I worked on this was October last year, so it's been a while, so I've had time to kind of live with it, and hopefully I'll hear it with fresh ears. But let's just crack on with this. So yeah, I always, after every session, I do an export, and I have something to review when I come back to work on it next time. And this is what we'll do now. We'll listen back to the last bounce of this tune, and I think we're within its end game for this track, really. It's end game, so it's probably going to be a lot of tweaking, unnecessary tweaking, but I've got a few other tunes I did think about working on, but let's see if we can't finish this one tonight. Distant Lands, how we doing? going to ignore all the warnings that my stream health is not up to scratch. Okay. Hey, sparky objects. Hey, stiffer fish. Okay, so there we go. How's my camera now? If I leave this on for a bit, if you could let me know if it's a bit laggy or something, that'd be really good. Okay, so Dream Coil, that one is. And I'm just going to open the project now, and I'll talk through the notes I've made. I'm actually really excited, kind of listening back to that. I've already moved it into release because I definitely would like this one to see the light of day at some point. I mean, it already is, but you know what I mean. So, as ever, pray that everything's working. There's no missing media, and there's no missing plugins. No, it doesn't like that. Thanks, Future World Machines. I'll just keep it off for now. God, this is like the good old days, isn't it? Do you remember when I was streaming on my my dongle, my mobile dongle, back in my cracked end flat? You couldn't see that from the shots, but it was a bit. Okay, great, everything's working. So let's save a version, then we'll talk through the notes, and we'll get to work. And we've probably got a good hour and a half to finish this tune. Finish this. It's quite some ambitious talk, but you know what I'm getting at. So it's been a couple of months since I worked on this, and I would always recommend that if you get a track so far, you're not really, or you feel like you need some space is good if you can get it. Some space is good if you can get it from your music. So, Mr. Grooves, that's good. Yeah, it could be on the radio, really, couldn't it? I've just got, alarmingly, it's just poor. That's what the status is telling me on YouTube. Poor. YouTube stream, poor. Twitch is generally pretty good at recording the streams, even if they're laggy while you're doing them. So if needs be, I'm also recording it here. Maybe that's the problem, but I genuinely think it's my internet that's the issue. Anyway, so okay, I've done something. I've done something in the intro with the drums where I've kind of done a lot of filtering and some weird reverb effects to kind of make them sound like distant and gradually getting closer and stuff like that. I wonder if if the effect is too much and I actually need to dial it back a bit. I'm kind of imagining, we've got the movement in all the atmospheres around the drums, and the drums are almost like they're in a box, you know what I mean? Small and boxy, and I kind of just want them to be a bit repetitive and stuttery. So maybe that's what I need to put, sound like they're in a box, stuttery, small, repetitive. Okay, cool. Going to check something else. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the balance needs a bit of an issue generally, but the percussion is a bit loud in the intro. It's poking out a bit too much. I kind of like it what it's doing, so we'll just turn it down a little bit. Maybe we can get organized first. Get organized. So by that I mean like tidy the track up a bit and just move things around so stuff is a bit easier to see and delete anything that's unused. So I think the first drop needs work, mainly because I think it's got all these effects, these big washy effects, and it's a bit it's not quite hitting the mark when it does drop for me. I think there's too much other stuff going on. There's too much stuff in the lead up to it. So effects bleed, too much going on before drop. Okay. So we'll come to that. That's probably where the majority of work will be. Maybe. Some of the pads sound like they could maybe do a bit of subtle side chaining. I think there's probably generally a few elements like that. Maybe usually on the reverbs and stuff like that. I do things like that. So side chaining on the reverbs. And the way the bass line is happening at the moment is that it's like bump doo. So the kick happens, doof, da, da, da. It happens before the bass line comes in, which is cool because like the two don't clash, but actually they kind of work together, so it doesn't matter if they play at the same time anyway. But because of that, it's not, it's not as impactful as it could be. So I wonder if I need that if I need that every time, or I'm just trying to be clever when actually the tune would just really benefit from me having the bass and the kick happen at the same time. So we shall see how that sounds. Okay. And there's a bit of like a false drop, and I use that term in the sense of like the bass comes in but the drums aren't there, right? It's just a nice, not a kind of a trick. You hear it all the time in club music, and I think it's pretty cool, but actually it could do with maybe just another highlight of some sort, another little bit of ear candy or something, just to like heighten the tension and heighten the drama of that moment. I think like I'd love a vocal. I love a voice or something in my tunes. I love something that's saying something. It doesn't need to be much, but I think it always just elevates them a lot. I might have something that I can sample, but like saved in my Instagram reels, but I'm really sorry that the stream health is not good. It does my head in, actually. Okay, so another riser for the second drop might be cool. I think it could do with heightening. It could do with more tension. Right, so okay. I know this might seem counterproductive to just spend a lot of time making notes, but I think it's really good to kind of just get your thoughts straight on a tune when you're kind of, especially when you're at this part in the process where there's do a bit more work, but you're not sure where to start or actually what needs addressing. So, okay, the bass balance on the second drop, there's like a bass switch up, and I think that would benefit from just a bit of balancing with the volume. Generally, I think the track, might benefit from a bit of mixing. Generally, a bit of mixing. I got Zebra free to try out the public beta, and I got ZebraLet free as well. So I might just try some of the presets from one of those synths for a laugh. Automation on the pads. I thought I'd done some stuff like that last time we worked on it, but maybe I didn't. And I think that would just that's the kind of stuff that's like the extra 10% that really just adds so much more to a tune. If you've got like a static sound, if you can find something to automate in it, just to give it some movement and growth, could be really exciting. There's a kind of weird bass thing in the outro where it was a part that I'd experimented with and just left in. It just needs that'll be a quick fix. And the outro drums actually sound pretty cool, and I'm kind of thinking that's the kind of sound I want in the intro. So maybe we'll just lift them from there. There's probably a ton of automation. It's going to be a bit fiddly, but all right. So we've got a plan. Before we get started, I just want to shout out my patrons. I do always do that. And regardless of the jittery stream, I just want to shout out JSaw and Spheres for their support on Patreon. Spheres, big up for the connection and stuff. I hope to see you at listening sessions sometime soon as well. Thanks to all my patrons. If you're interested in that stuff, links are in the description or wherever you're watching this. You can support me and get loads of downloads and stuff on there. And access to the Discord, hang out with other like-minded producers and stuff like that. So lots of good stuff to check out on Patreon, and you get your name in the credits on my weekly stream. So check it out. Right. Music. Enough talk, him. Okay, so let's just work out what's going on here. So I'm going to spend a bit of time just tidying it up. So this is the main pad, isn't it? Like the main pad. And then what's going on here? Is it just some like high... Nice, eh? It's like a high frequency pad. Okay. And then we've got some weird group that's... What's this? I don't think anything's going on with that. Is that true? Great. It's always good when you can delete something. Filtered Reese. Okay, nothing's happening on that one either. This is why it's always good doing this. That's kind of a Reese in the intro, like, or something like that, you know, it's like an alternative Reese. Bass effects, what's this? Nice, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Bass effects I didn't use. Nice though. Did I resample that? Hopefully I did. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, we're just going to delete now. Bass room effects, brilliant. We've got our main Reese bass. Lovely. Great bass. That comes from the time shift pack for Serum from Oblivion Sound Labs. So you got a lot of reverb on that, so I probably want to sidechain that reverb to the kick or whatever. May break with audio. That's like break call. That's like a break turnaround. That's what they call it in blues. Something at the end of every 8 bars. If you are enjoying this like that, please consider pressing the the little thumb, the thumbs up. All the interaction really helps these kind of things get seen, you know, and the fact that they're like 2.5 hours long and quite niche content about electronic music. But yeah, the likes really help. Okay, like stick shuffle top. It's a break as well, isn't it? Top break. And then we'll do some ordering as to where these are in the tune. This is always worthwhile when you get to this part, I think, just so you can get a bit clearer. Especially as like the longer you leave it between sessions, because you kind of forget what stuff is. Okay, and we've got some hi-hat loop. Again, we're not using that. So this is like percussion. Space percussion. And then we got some these like towel cymbals. I love these. They're actually really good. Use them a lot. And the divas are all just named as divas, which is not helpful. ARP lead thing, kind of an ARP lead, and then what we've got here. I'll just name them whatever the first thing that comes to my head. I did do some automation with this. Probably fine, isn't it? Very nice. All right, good. Drum effects, what's in here as well? These are like, okay, we'll just call those drum effects. They're fine. So I'm going to put, I usually order things like drums, bass, pads, melodics, effects, that kind of thing. So we've kind of got all the drums here. And then we've got all the basses. I'll include the affected basses as well. Yeah, what was this one? There's every Reese I could muster. It's usually in order of importance, yeah. Okay, oh, that's annoying. We'll keep the drum effects at the top, just because they don't happen all the time. Break turnaround, that's fine. That can go there. Shuffle there. Ride pattern as well. We'll keep that there. Space percussion, tau cymbals, that's good. Main Reese, then we want kind of the second drop Reese. And then we'll go for the alt Reeses. And then we just got the effects, the bass effects happening as well. We've got the main pad, we've got the high pad, intro filtered Reese. We kind of want to put that here. We should put that here. Yeah. Okay. Main pad, high frequency pad, ARP lead, acid ARP, deep space pad. Lead keys, lead sparkly. Very nice. Consider that organised. Natural selector. It's all thanks to the Shure SM58 I can really get on top of. I mean, the break stuff I've been doing recently, I'm not sure if I'd call that ASMR. Listening to 8 bars of drums on repeat. All right, and I'm just going to leave the colours as they are. Okay. That's okay. I think the human mind is quite good at finding lots of stuff that doesn't need to be done to avoid doing what should be done. And that is like colour coding your Ableton sets too much. So I've been guilty of it. Right, we'll put this here. Okay. So get organised. All right, we can tick that off the list. Great. Okay, intro drums. That feels like a bit of a thing, a bit of a dragon to slay. I think like the intro drums and the first drop, I think really they're kind of part of the same thing, aren't they? All right. Well, the percussion being too loud, I can just turn down. When's it happening here? That's probably fine. So the outro drums, I just want to check on the outro drums again. Outro drums again. So I think we'll zero in the intro, zero in on the intro here. Just seeing what's going on with the automation here. Is it Gachi 8? I recognise the handle. Was it we us that we were talking about how to resample things or how to sample things without sampler? Have I got that right? Mr. Grooves, I wish I could take several clips and have it randomly colour them all in one click. That sounds like it could be a Max for Live device. Or it should be if it isn't already. Natural Selector, yeah, I think... I think there probably are. I'm pretty sure I've got so I saved one by Tom York talking to Zane Lowe about dreams. Or about sleep, so there might be something in that. We'll come to that in a bit. So I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it Gaxi 8, Gachi 8 or something like that? So I think the way to do it, I'm just going to divert and answer a comment or answer something that someone that Gachi 8 posted on a video, a comment on a video about users who have standard, they don't have a sampler. And they want to kind of resample a break using the method you can employ in sampler, where you sample a long swathe of audio and you chop it by bar and it goes into sampler and then you can export it all as like 8-bar loops. So I'm just going to see if I can answer this now. And I'll tell you what, right, because we've got all these parts, I'm just going to delete everything here. I'll just quickly, so we have something like this and this. And if we just get a break. So yeah, this is for Ableton standard users that don't have sampler. And you can do a cool thing in sampler where you can chop some audio by bar once you've kind of halved its length twice, and then you can crop by slice in the sampler to get 8-bar loops out of it. It's a really good way of like dealing with long takes of audio and then getting them out into your sample libraries. Okay, so we'll just call this like breaks or something. Right, this might not work, but I think it could do. So and then we'll go back to the, okay, cool, turn all those off. So I've managed to pick, I don't want this, I don't want a time stretch break. Okay, that'll do. So say you got something like that where you got a break program to MIDI, and this one's chopped to a drum rack, but it doesn't matter really if you've got it in simpler, or let's say you've got it in simpler, which comes with standard, Ableton standard. Okay, cool. Now, let's do like 3 just to demonstrate. So 20, I'm just going to get rid of these extra scenes here. And we're going to use follow actions, which we can access by pressing Shift Tab. Imagine you can get to it another way, but like, is it Shift Tab? Okay, and we can just pull. Is that? Okay. That should work. Or is it Tab then? Okay, you've got to be on the main channel. That's it. Yeah. So you've got to be on the main, on the master bus. I like the scenes that you want to employ follow actions for. Scene follow actions this takes advantage of. So now I can Shift Tab and they're here. Our scenes are here. So we can use follow actions and we can make it go next. And we can specify how often it's going to do that. So we can say 8 bars, yeah? So the length of like a break, okay? And then we've got our breaks here, breaks resampling, all right? And on this final scene, I'll go back over on our master. Yeah, okay. And we will set this to stop. So after 8 bars, that will stop. So you can see the follow actions are engaged here with this on. Now, I am going to highlight these clips here, or these clip areas, and I'm going to remove the stop button. That's really cool. So as we scroll through these scenes, it's going to continue just playing this. I use this on my live set quite often. Now, in here, if we arm this to record, we've got to make sure there's one more setting on, which is if we go into preferences and it's record, warp, and launch. Now in here, if we start recording on scene launch, is that it? Select next scene on launch. So yeah, start recording on scene launch. That is what needs to be toggled on. So if that's off, set it to on. I think by default it is off. So what that means is when I press play, it's going to play this MIDI clip and it's going to arm this to record. Okay, so there's no sampler involved in doing this here. So if I press play now, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that work? It should move on to the next one once it's done it. Follow action. Next. Play the next scene, shouldn't it? Is it because it's got no button here? So why is that? I'm perplexed as to why that's not working. That should just work. Why is that not working, people? Unlinked, longest. It should just... Let's just try 1 bar. Or is it... Have I got this... Yeah, that's right. It's like 8 bars. Let's just try 2 bars. See if that works. Why? Is it because I've got to have... Okay, let's just say I've got to have that then. Is this going to work? Okay. So yeah, you have to have MIDI in here. All right. So... But let's say you've got... I think, can you trigger other clips while this is going? Let's just try it. So... This is good. Let's try that. 8, yeah? Okay, they should all be set to 8 now. So let's get rid of these. And let's just try here. And maybe we can't have a... But we have to have a button engaged here, or will it just carry on looping? You can see if the follow action engages because it lights... It shows you what it's going to play next. So let's say... Can I do this? Okay, well, let's just say we copy these over, right? And we've got a load of MIDI we're just going to mess around with. So. Okay, now it's going to move on. It's going to move on now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I did trigger that one, but now it's just going to roll out. Cool. And now we have 8 or 4 sampled clips, yeah, of 8 bars. Okay, so let's say a good way to do this would be to take your MIDI, yeah, take all your MIDI clips you've got and record just the MIDI, and then you could split that up into sections of 8, yeah, and essentially just program loads of clips and then record them this way using scene follow actions to keep them 8 bars long. And that is a way to quickly get around. Now we can right click, show in Finder, and if we just modify it by date, all of this is done here. Not obviously not. Very nice. So does that make sense? I think it does. And you can see why it's a bit complicated to explain in a YouTube comment. I got this from Ned Rush originally. But essentially it's taking advantage of scene follow actions to record clips of a specified length. You have to have MIDI for every scene for which you're recording something, as we've learned here. But that's how to do it. Yeah, pleasure. Yeah, Mr. Grooves is really good with scenes because you can obviously take advantage of more MIDI clips than that. And I think as long as you've got something all the way down, it will keep jumping on. And you can do like random as well. You can do all that stuff. So who? Opre 979 on my template return channels, which is what you've got here. Yeah, all of these are template returns. So I've got lots of reverbs and delays. I've got Valhalla room, usually for my drums and stuff like that. So let's just turn them all on. And let's just ungroup this. Okay. Right. Should play this. So there's nothing going to that at the moment, but that's usually what I use for drums, just to give a bit of space for drums. I've also got Valhalla Vintage Verb on return B, and I use that for like bigger atmospheric sounds. Again, there might not be much going to these things. Then I have a super plate, which is the reverb from Soundtoys. And you have to ask yourself, why they didn't make a reverb sooner. But this is love this. Love this. This is great on so many things. Soundtoys stuff is just so nice. Sounds so nice. And then I have an echo doing a 8th note dotted delay, quite high feedback. I have a quarter note delay with quite high feedback. That is doing something by the look of it. But whether or not it will be doing anything for the bit we can hear. And then have another echo doing a, half note, a semi-breve, with quite high feedback, an echo, another echo. Actually, no, that's not right. So then I have Echo Boys Galaxy, which is like one of my favourite presets, and I use this on everything. And if you've heard it once, you'll hear it on everything I do. But I love this. It's just like a really nice dubby, big delay, kind of slightly out of time. I then have another Echo Boy, just in case I want to use it. I don't really send much to it. I mean, I'd probably get rid of it, actually, because I don't use it too often. But it's nice to have the option. I then have a Valhalla delay, and I like all the different sounds of all the different delays. I have another Valhalla delay, which is a bit much, really. I can probably just need one. And then, the ambient producer's best friend, and it is amazing. Shimmer is so nice. Like, for all these kind of like pitch shift reverbs, it's just the most seamless to my ears. I don't like it on pitch reverbs where you can hear the grains. I really like it when it's just like an aura. Hey, Ian. And then I have Supermassive. And those are all the effects on my return channels. Probably too many. But I've also found out the shortcut for closing plugin windows. Brilliant, isn't it? Does it open them again? It does. Wow. Yeah, there we go. The recording channel. Which one do you mean, Mr. Grooves? So am I just praying out about these drums? I kind of like this. What this is doing, this sound. Yeah, that's a bit better. Oh, pray, a pleasure. It's always recording channel on the master bus. Oh, sorry, I might be behind on the comments because the lag. Sorry if I am. But legato, can you use? You might be able to use. You can't use legato on scene follow actions, but you can use other, which is pretty cool. So if you've got lots of variations, I've got in mind, I want to make like a generative ambient set. I've already done this a few times. And Ian of Ian Jojo. God, what is that? Forgive me. What is the? What's the name of your Mac's company, Ian? But something like using those devices. Is it IGO Audio? The kind of stuff that I demoed just before Christmas. So, and I think follow actions in scenes could be really cool for that. Thank you, IGO Audio. Yeah, I managed to remember in the nick of time. Just completely left me. And using things like that to make a variety of kind of generative ambient sets. You know, I mean, those devices kind of just do generative ambient anyway. But I would like something that's also got like there's a Berlin school type thing with lots of like kind of arpeggios that are evolving, and it's you can press play and essentially tweak the dials and get something like a modular setup, but with Ableton. And I've done this in various guises before, but it would be good to revisit it, and scene follow actions would be really cool for that. So I feel like more comfortable with how the drums are sounding here, but they are a bit Have we got the shuffle? Is the shuffle happening here? Okay, that's good. So I think that intro's... Can't really hear that, can you? Alright, that's a bit better. Those drums are kind of like more the sound I was after. Yeah, Ian, pleasure. I've still got plans for your devices, and I really want to edit that live stream I did on them, and maybe even do another one, because I think I only kind of really gave them a first look there. So am I still live? Am I still live? Am I still live, people? Or is it saying... Ian, I'd always like to... Yeah, absolutely would love to take a look at anything you're working on, even if it's just for an opinion. Am I live? I am live still. God, it's... I don't know why I do this to myself sometimes, what I like when it's like this. Thank you. It's because it was like no signal. Okay, you can hear all these other effects going on. Mr. Grooves mentioned this last time we worked on it, because that was Mr. Grooves' idea to add that. Do, do, do. So what is actually happening in this bit, and how are we going to deal with it? Because I kind of hate having to resample all of this stuff. I just want to see what's going to have signal. Do you know where dreams come from? That's the kind of thing I would like. So you can see there's like I've added some automation in. I've just minimized the channels so that I can see everything that's going on here. Okay, so we've got like I dropped the reverb out. That's pretty nice, isn't it? Now, is that heavy enough, really? That's better. That's already getting there. Right, I'm not going to do this on screen, but like I'm actually going to see if I've got anything I can sample from my Instagram profile. I won't show you guys this because I just don't want to dox myself, but I don't think you could see anything anyway. Saved. Already got some random stuff I've saved here. Sure, we've got. There's one Tom York talking about sleep.
Why we sleep.
I've heard of it, I haven't read it.
It's amazing. If you don't dream enough, you don't process enough, and in a dream state, the dream state, you develop your ideas. Scientists have had their best ideas. Musicians have had their best ideas. You have two types of sleep. One is like a defragmentation of your hard disk, NREM, and it's literally like a radar that beeps. Like when they scan it, and you put it on an MRI or something, well, it's just literally all brain activity ceases.
Okay, maybe.
Right after I met him.
It's Ramdas Goldie.
Don't take for granted the beauty of not being connected to the rest of the world. Trust me.
Fear
Thought in
Parish.
itself is not intelligent because it is restricted.
If you want to convince people to do something against their will and make lots of money off them,
The first person to...
Here's one of the best.
I went to a nut house a couple of years ago. One thing they told me, useful piece of information that everybody could use, and I'll save you a bunch of fucking...
Right. I think this is a wild goose chase, so we'll see if we've got anything in here. Oh, I don't know if we will have. Mr. Grooves, that's exactly the kind of thing I'm envisaging with a live. I'd like it to almost be like a sonic spaceship. That sounds like it's from I've already used that.
These impulses become pictures. The pictures become dreams. These impulses become...
Agent Cooper.
Do you know where dreams come from? Do you know?
Remember, I haven't got your dream kitchen to make things easier.
I've had dreams before, so maybe. What's this from? This Dreambox? I feel like it's been used before. I thought so. This looks like. Is this Blue Martin? Where's this? Yep. No, I don't. I'm not using this. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that for now.
You got options. Don't let anyone ever make you feel like you don't have any options, because you got friends.
Qui veut la facilité, ça c'est normal. Je préfère ça.
So what is the club scene to you?
It's whatever I want. It's to have a good time and relax on...
Alright, we have to go back to this. I don't think we want this coming in before. I like the high frequency pad. Is that happening? This is cool. This should happen more. something really interesting that's happening here, and what's doing that here? Is it that? Saint1422, I haven't tried VCV Rack. I know a lot of people who really rate it and use it like user-friendly sounds and stuff. Get some really good results from it. I guess it's like one rabbit hole I've probably steered clear of for the moment, but... So what is making that noise, is it? Why is that? Okay, because I've pitched that up 12%. It's like being a detective, isn't it? What the hell did I do here? Maybe we could like blend that in. Sort of crossfade here. That's nice. Right, I don't think I want it dropping out there. I think I want to drop it out here. So nice that Ableton kind of locks that a bit now. Shall we feed this back into itself? Why aren't you working? Cool, that's good. Like that. So I'm going to send the Valhalla shimmer to the I'm sending the Valhalla shimmer to the Echo Boys Galaxy. Is good. There's this. Keep this rolling for a bit. Nice. That's pretty cool. That's a bit better. It's nice that the kind of like Valhalla. What do you think, Mr. Grooves? We were talking about this last time. Opry, is there a quick way to slice, break, and import slices into Sampler Zone? So, I mean, you Slice to new MIDI track. Do you mean? You mean into the zones here? I mean, if you have a break like this one, you slice to new MIDI track. Yeah, so slice to new MIDI track, and then by transient normally I would do it, and then you've got a sampler preset comes with Ableton, and that should give you a MIDI clip, and that kind of just slices it across. That's what you mean, yeah? That's the way I would do it anyway. And then it depending on the break, you might have to like does a pretty good job. You can I still need to work out how to use this. Pages. Okay. We're doing this last time, weren't we? Patterns. Okay, just as an example, but that's how I would do it. Yeah. No, that's. I suppose, you know, it's strange what one takes for granted, but yeah, no, that's definitely the quickest way to do it. And slicing to new MIDI track, you get all the other options as well. You can do it by bar. Sorry, you can do it by division, note division, or you can do it by transient, which is definitely the best for breaks. What you might find is some of the transients don't get marked in the audio, so you might have to just go and add those in. And a little bit of time spent just checking where your transients are could be quite useful, seeing that like, oh, I probably don't need one here or wherever. So you can, if you highlight them, you can delete them just with delete, and you can Command-Shift-I, and that'll insert them. Yeah, you can put them anywhere. Yeah. Command-Shift-I for that. And then when you slice by transient, you can choose to do it to a sampler or to a any number of other options. If you watch my How to Chop an Amen break, like one of my earliest videos, I actually show you how to create like presets that your slicing presets, your own slicing presets, so you can customize things quite a lot. Good question. I think we've got this bit better now. Everyone will keep that. Kind of like that. That's pretty nice. It's probably. sometimes you just get like I realise I'm investing a lot of time in like 12 seconds of music here, but like on this Echo Voice Galaxy Opry, so yeah, I think you can definitely do that. It's quite complicated to trigger lots of breaks by velocity, but it's totally possible. And once you've got them in, you know, a sampler like that, it's probably better to group a simpler and to do that. Have you seen my short Amen Break Choppage or something? It's like one of my most viewed shorts, but that essentially what I do in that you could do with any other break or any variety of breaks, and you would be able to use the expression control if you have this version of Live, if you have the most up-to-date version of Suite and Max, then or just Max for Live as then using expression control. You can do the same with velocity, but it allows you to scan through lots of different breaks that you've got grouped in multiple samplers, and that's where you'll get lots of breaks triggered. It's kind of a bit like a tracker, the way a tracker would do it. But okay, things are a bit crazy at this drop at the moment, so Miss Grooves, thank you. I'm not happy with Docker here. Trying out this new. What does this do? This is new to me, this, so. Harmonic tremolo mode, vintage tremolo mode. Wow. So you can use the shape to get some. What does this do? Okay, invert. I want it to be pulsing, really. Obviously not like that, but okay, check the phase. That's pretty cool. I like that. And can you invert that? This would be good for doing some stuff with, I reckon. How'd you get it? I don't want that. I kind of want that, but like more of a... I'm probably asking for too much here. That's kind of like pretty sidechained, isn't it? Yeah, nice. That's actually pretty good, right? So I think you can see how much I like spending time on stuff like this. So I think that sounds like. That's good. I'm going to leave that there. What I am hearing though, that's pretty cool, that auto pan, or the tremolo, sorry. It'd be nice to like introduce it here, you know, it's nice when it comes in. Losing my mind a bit here now. We've got anything else to highlight? Stuff. That's probably just going to carry on hang over from what we just had. Right. Okay, let's just go back to here. So intro drums, I think I've done that. I think I've certainly done that, achieved that for now. And I'm pretty happy with how that drop is sounding. Certainly enough that we can move on. So FX bleed, too much going on before drop. Well, I think there's still a lot going on. Percussion volume, great. Sidechain pad, subtle. Right. Okay, let's deal with that then. The pad's here. So we could either use an actual side chain, or we could use we could try that auto pan tremolo again. So we'll try the side chain first. Darker. GM Audio, Groove Mechanic Audio, does some really nice max effects. So it's the main break. This is why it helped to get organised. Now I don't want it that tight, and it probably don't need it that high. Now what you can't do on Groove, this thing is you can't and to be honest it would probably be fine with a sidechain. I don't think we need it super tight. So if we just get a compressor. I'm finding I have to type things to search them now because there's just so much stuff. So main break. Post effects, and we'll just have the kick. So I'm just gonna find the kick, just sidechaining it, so it should just be triggered by the kick. That's pretty good. Let me just Where are you saying that, Mr. Grooves? The drop. What do you mean here? Pretty nice. That's what you're talking, yeah? Whoa. It's pretty space age. Right. What key are we in? D minor. Low. That's low. That's cool. Opry. I did not make the drums here. They're various samples from DJ Crystal pack. Tearing Breaks Volume 2, I believe. I do have a new drum breaks pack coming out very soon with Groovin' in G, which is kind of modelled, or my attempt at trying to make something going towards that crystal sound. Mr. Grooves, me too. Yeah, but for precision. Yeah, Opry. I think when I first made this, I was like, well, I don't always like to use, if I do use samples, I like to chop them quite a lot. But yes. So you got that, you got like these rides on, they're just a sample, but these are all DJ Crystal breaks. But it gives that the kick and the snare are sick in that. Lovely. How's it doing that? I don't think it has a... This is my first time I've opened this. Huh. Yeah. So the text, yeah, I love it as well. So it sounds like a clap. Like quite a lot of like kind of a big snare or like a distort. It's quite white noisy, isn't it? That's the kind of thing. I just want a tiny bit of quite nice. I wanted something metallic. That's separate. Nice. All right. Are you kidding me, man? Why did you only do that? I did some really nice bits there. Okay, I'll do that again. I did want to... That's so annoying. Lost and found wide. Perfect. A, B, C, D, E. Sorry you can't see my keyboard, but the camera's not connected for some reason. Technical. There's gremlins in the system. Oh, nice. Nice Empire. Sounds great. I love those glassy tones. Right, let's just go again, and we'll just. I kind of got something interesting going with it. Grooves me too. So what's really bloody annoying is it doesn't like it's capturing. Thank you, Grace. Good to see you, mate. Great. Okay. There's some duds there. What's this one like? Oh, I want the mallets. This is nice. I love the sound of U-Phoria stuff. Probably too much going on, but that's kind of how I like to do things. Yeah. Corpus is nice. Yeah, so's Collision. Lovely sounds on here. Where am I now then? I'm in more. I know I've got too many effects on this. Don't really want to add a big sound like. Bangers and Mash. Yeah, now Operand. Was Bangers and Mash. got a lot of stuff, and even on this, isn't it? Okay, Mr. Grooves, see you in a bit. I'll probably wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so. Probably a bit much, really. Don't need this stuff. Silly. I don't know why, but like MIDI capture's definitely not working properly. So yeah. Upper end. Yeah, so I think, how many sessions have I done on this? I've done... So, started it back in August. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th session now. So, probably all told about, you know, it's probably about 10, 12 hours. Maybe more, to be honest. And I think it's pretty much there now, really. And that was kind of what I wanted to do tonight. I think this just needs me to mix it now, and then just to do the... Basically, I say mix it and finish it, but like usually the process is like I spend a lot of time just like tweaking stuff intentionally. I know kind of what I want. It can just take me a while to get to that place where I'm really happy with everything at the end. And it's not that I try not to be perfectionist, but I know when I can push myself a bit more to get something, you know. So that's usually why I try and, for the ones that are worth it, I like to dig a bit deeper. And this form of like music making, you know, it's not the same as live performance or whatever. This is a kind of art in itself, doing when you get really detailed, and I really enjoy it. So, but thank you. Finishing touches. Yeah. Thanks, Grace. Anyway, I think we'll give it a listen from the top and then probably wrap things up. So one more listen. Dream Coil. Operand, you know, I know other people that have done the same. I've got a friend who uses Notion for stuff like that. Whatever works, you know. I imagine you can do very similar. You can do Kanban boards and stuff in Notion. Nice, that's cool. I can never work out how to do that on... I think my hesitation in doing that as well was that, like, as you work on more and more stuff, you end up with quite a lot of MP3s attached, and it can make, like, the system quite unwieldy. But if you can, the main thing is it's great being out and about and away from the door. So I really encourage whatever is working. You know, that sounds like a really great way to do it. I'm sure people on Discord would be interested in seeing that. Well, as would I. Sick. That's so cool. See, the thing as well, like, I reverse engineered it from someone else and from the creator, Mike Monday, and you've taken it and made it into Notion with additional features and functionality. Yeah, man, share it on if you're happy to, or I'm sure people would be really interested to see that. Yeah, I'll just run it. something weird with these drums here. They're like so loud. What the hell is going on with that? They're like louder than anything else in the tunes. What the fuck, man? Is it because this shuffle is on there or something? We need a high frequency pad, don't we? That's what we need. Okay, where is that happening then? Here? Operand, yeah. So generally ride that. I've always got a limiter on at 0 with -0.1 dB, and I've had to just pull the gain down a bit. Like this is 0, so maybe on that. It's this. So it's too loud there. So if I put it down a bit. I reckon this will probably sound good when it is mastered and stuff. Anyway, sorry, I'll just play out the last drop. Go from the breakdown and then we will Upper end. Yeah, no, I always do that. I've done that for a long time, mainly because when I'm doing quite mad stuff, I want to be able to... I want to be protected. But yeah, no, I always do until I'm rarely mixing hard. I'm rarely pushing volumes hard into it. So a lot of the time, stuff doesn't even touch it. I know you'll probably hear a lot of different. There's a lot of opinions about stuff like that. And really, you know, I guess why you're asking is probably more pertinent. I mean, it's totally fine that you are asking, but like, is there a question, something you'd had apprehensions about it or something? I mean, I never push that hard into it, and when it comes to like being mixed, when it comes to being mastered, I just take it off and just make sure everything's got healthy headroom. Okay, well, after the technical pitfalls of the beginning, and the stream has been terrible, the health, but the music's been good, so just carry on, you know, regardless. And it is I've actually got a limiter on my final streaming thing as well, just in case anything goes crazy, that I noticed the other day. I forgot I had it on there. But alright, I'm going to wrap up now. Big shout out to my patrons. Thanks to G, Sort and Spheres, my newest patrons. If you're interested in that and want to get your name shouted out, then check out the links in the description. All the good stuff on Patreon as well, all the downloads and pure breaks and pads and live sets and loads of loops to power up your productions. Go and check it out. Oh, Operand, I would highly recommend just stick one on there. Keep one on your set all the time, because if you want to do any crazy sound design, you don't have to worry that it's going to blow your ears or your speakers up. So, you know, I know that I could just distort the hell out of something or do some mad feedback chain, and although it could get very loud, it's not going to go louder than 0. It's not going to be like, you know, kill me, make my ears bleed. So yeah, I always keep one on there. Oh, and before we do this, we need to just export what we've made. So this is definitely a release track. .26 0129. Good job. And it goes in the Trello board, and well, that is it in the Trello board actually. So now I need to dial it on. Alright. Sick. Yeah, do you know what I do? Like, I've got it set up so I just ride laptop volume. But yeah, that is annoying. Especially if you've got like one that's over in the corner of your desk and you've got to reach and forget it. Ableton system audio. Yeah. No, I get you. If you're about tomorrow, I'm going to be live on Patreon. I'm doing a Patreon live stream. That's only because it's a remix of someone else's tune that I have permission to do. I've been asked to do, and I just won't get copyright. Hopefully, won't get copyright blocked on Patreon, and it's open to everyone. It's free. It's to I believe you don't have to be a member to go and watch it. It just felt like a better home for it working on something like that there than on YouTube. But all being well, I might edit that video down and put it on YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're about tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. UK time, it's quite early, and I know most people are working, but it will be VOD afterwards as well. But come and check it out. That's on my Patreon tomorrow, 10:30. Work on a remix for a couple of hours. Atmospheric Jungle. I've already got a brief for it, so Oh, sick. Yeah, yeah. What I might do is make it available to anyone and then just view OD to patrons afterwards. Seems. And then there will be an edit. I hope. There'll be a shorter edit that I might put out on YouTube because it could be good to. I think seeing how people approach remixes is quite insightful for others. What to do with some, even because you might just be collabing and you might want to work with someone else, and that's a bit like doing a remix. I'm not sure the automation was alright there, so I'm just going to explore that. Alright. I'm going to say goodnight now, folks. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see some of you tomorrow. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.